Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 98 of my brand new comics haul series where I show you guys all the new books I picked up for New Comic Book Day and tell you everything you need to know about every single issue. We're getting really close to that 100th episode. Not sure what I want to do for that. If you guys have any ideas or anything special I could do, I'm not really sure. Can't come up with anything off the top of my head. Let me know down in the comment section below. Not too sure about that yet. But we're just going to get right into this haul. I've got 7 issues in total, I think. A few from Image, mostly from Marvel. A couple of these are from last week or the week before, so I did pick up some ones that you guys might have already read. But we're just going to start this off with this little extra that came out this week. Not sure if everyone's able to get their hands on this one, but my shop set this one aside for me. It's this free Stormbreaker sketchbook from Marvel Comics, which is showing these, I think, 8 or 9 new artists who are basically going to be these artists that Marvel is spotlighting throughout the next couple of years, right? That's what their Stormbreakers program is. So just showing some of their sketch work, some of their artwork in recent projects, and showcasing these artists. Not sure if I'll get around to reading this, but I am a little bit curious about this year's Stormbreakers class. Nick Klein, that's awesome. He definitely deserves the spotlight. And they try to give these artists bigger projects, I think, and really boost up their careers at Marvel. So pretty cool. Stormbreaker sketchbook might be interesting if you're into creators, if you're into artists. So try that one out if you can get your hands on it. Next up, though, probably the biggest release of the week is from Marvel Comics. I'm gonna do a short non-spoiler review of this one. As soon as I post this video, it should be out soon after. I'm just gonna read it and review it. This one though is Red Goblin issue number 1. So from what I know, this is spinning out of the pages of Venom, which I haven't been reading for a really long time. Wasn't too big of a fan of that new Al Ewing Rom V run. I thought it got a little bit too crazy, a little bit too convoluted, and it's just such a stark difference from that Donny Cates run, right? Red Goblin, though, has been a character on his own for a few years at this point. He first showed up in that Go Down Swinging story arc, which was it number 800 of Spider-Man, leading up to the end of Dan Slott's run, right? That milestone issue. And it was Norman Osborn with the Carnage symbiote, right? The Red Goblin, which is a really cool idea. But now, apparently, with this new Venom run, we've had Normie Osborn, who's Norman Osborn's grandson, right? Take on this new symbiote. Not sure exactly how that works. I might have to get primed on whatever's going on in Venom right now. Here's some of the interior artwork, though. It's looking pretty decent. Nothing too special. And I think actually one of the Stormbreakers, Jan Bazaldua, illustrates this one. So they might be giving this artist some more special projects going forward. Red Goblin, I think, is just a really cool character in the same vein as Carnage, right? Just making a different, scarier color scheme and a crazy-looking character that's a variant of an original one. I think that's just a good idea. So definitely look out for my non-spoiler review this one. Don't have too much to say about it because I'm not too familiar on all the Venom stuff, yet. But yeah, look out for that review. Red Goblin number 1. Looking forward to getting into that series, which is supposed to be ongoing, surprisingly. Next up, though, sticking in that Spider-Man universe, this next issue, just an issue of the flagship title. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 19. So we just had Dark Web wrap up, which I forgot to mention about Red Goblin. I think he came out of the whole Dark Web event in those Venom tie-ins. With Amazing Spider-Man, after the whole Dark Web event, Zeb Wells wrote most of that. So as the main writer on this, he's taking a little bit of a break. So issues 19 and 20. If I'm remembering correctly, it's just those two. We're going to have a guest writer who's Joe Kelly, and it's going to be illustrated by Terry Dodson. So still John Romita Jr. cover here. I gotta say, he's not been doing too bad on the covers. So maybe putting in a little bit more effort on those covers to really make them shine. But I think this is still in continuity and everything. And I've heard that this is actually still important to the story. So this is still worth picking up, even if it is just kind of a filler story arc. And it's having more of a focus on Peter and Black Cat's relationship, which is an interesting aspect of this book right now. We've had them kind of rekindling their love interest, relationship that hasn't really been around in comics for a little bit. And the funny thing is that Nick Spencer's whole Spider-Man run kind of had to do with them making sure that they would never be like that with each other again. And it's set boundaries between the characters and all that. So it's funny they're just bringing it back. That's how comics work, right? Curious to see what they'll do with this little guest story arc, but next story arc of ASM is supposed to tell us what happened in that 6-month period that we don't know what happened to Peter, why everyone hates him and all that. We'll see. I'm not really loving this series so far. It's barely holding on. I want to see what's up with the next story arc, but we'll see about this guest story arc. Moving on with Marvel, though, I've got a couple more issues from them this week, but neither of them are actually set in the main Marvel universe. This next one, though, this is Miracle Man, the Silver Age, issue number 4. So the thing with Miracle Man, it's had a really long publishing history. It started under this company called Eclipse in the 1980s. It was already based off of this like older character called Marvel Man. There was kind of like a popular like Superman variant, right? In that vein, it was popular in Britain. It's kind of like the British Superman or the British Shazam, right? And then Eclipse, under that company, Alan Moore, the famous comics writer, made like this grittier version of the character, ended up by the end of his run making him like this god among men that's created this utopia out of a disaster that happened with one of Miracle Man's enemies. And since then, Neil Gaiman took over. He never got to finish his run, so now like almost 30 years later, he's finishing his run under Marvel Comics. Long publishing history, there's a lot to get into regarding Miracle Man, even though not that much has actually been published, even though he's been around for like a really long time at this point. But last issue number 3 was the first issue of like actual original content we've gotten published for Miracle Man. Those first couple issues of this new Silver Age series were just like the same scripts, but the artist Mark Buckingham had redone all of the layouts and pencils with like a new colorist and everything. So looking forward to seeing what's up with the rest of the series. And there's supposed to be a new series after that, The Dark Age, that's like going to wrap up Neil Gaiman's run that he never got to finish to begin with. Looks like there's some sort of flashback with like some old-fashioned looking artwork in here. Curious to see what they do with this. I'm still liking this run. It's definitely a recommendation from me. Something not too many people know about, and I feel like it could definitely be adapted into a show or movie at some point because some really interesting stuff in here. It's like superheroes how you've never seen them before. Last one from Marvel Comics, though. This is definitely my favorite cover of the week. This one is Alien number 6. You really got to take a look at this cover. Like, there's a lot to comprehend within it, right? For one thing, the crazy-looking alien queen that we had teased like way back in the first issue that Marvel ever published of Alien by the same writer, Philip Kennedy Johnson, right? This is the 3rd story arc he's done. This is the last issue of the story arc. It's also the last issue of the series. They're relaunching Alien again with a new number 1. I think it's a new writer and artist. So Philip Kennedy Johnson, who's been writing all the story arcs so far, is finally stepping off, but he's getting to somehow bring back in this alien queen, if she's actually in it, that he hinted way back in issue 1, right? Let me know if you guys know too much about like the Xenomorphs and Alien franchise down in the comments. I think that maybe this like version of an alien, whoever she is, has already been in a movie or show or something. So maybe it's not actually original, but this might be a first comics appearance. Here's some interior artwork. This has probably been my favorite volume of Alien so far. Those first couple really weren't my favorite in the original Alien series before they relaunched it. But the artwork in this one has been way better. We've had this team of synthetics sent to this planet that was overrun by xenomorphs. They're trying to collect one of the xenomorph eggs because it has like some sort of cure for like farmland that's been burned down on another planet. It's kind of a complicated idea, but they've come across these humans and this like human-alien hybrid that they've had to deal with. So it's really just like bringing some new ideas into the Alien franchise, right? At least the Marvel version. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. Like, we'll see what happens with the next story arc, when it'll be set, and how it ties in with everything else we've had, whether this Alien Queen is actually going to be in it or not. We'll see about all that, but that's Alien number 6, ending off that series. Next up, though, I've got a few issues from Image. I've got 3 issues from them. Only one of them came out this week, though, and it is a brand new ongoing series, so I'll show that one first. This one is Monarch number 1. I won't touch on this one for too long. I really don't know anything about it. All I do know is that it's some sort of post-apocalyptic sci-fi type thing, which you can come to expect from Image Comics. They've got a lot of post-apocalyptic type stuff. The only reason I decided to pick this one up specifically, though, is because it's written by Rodney Barnes, who I have like barely read any of his stuff. I think I read like a Lando miniseries that they did set in like that Solo a Star Wars story era, like many years ago at Marvel. And I didn't like that like so much, but that's really all I'm basing his work off of, which doesn't seem fair, right? The reason I picked it up though is because I've heard really great things about Rodney Barnes writing Philadelphia and what's it called, Nita Haas' Nightmare Blog. Those 2 series are like set in the same like vampire, like heaven and hell type universe. It sounds interesting. So here's some of the interior artwork, some sort of new post-apocalyptic thing. I don't think this ties in with Philadelphia or Nightmare Blog, but correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong on that. That's Monarch number 1. I'll be curious to see what's up with this new series. Next up, though, I'll go through these really quickly because these both came out a few weeks ago. This first one here, this is Junkyard Joe number 4. I forgot to add this one to my pull list, but it's been a really great series so far, so I had to, order number 4. It came a little bit later. It's about this cartoonist who depicted Junkyard Joe, this like soldier robot who he fought with in the Vietnam War. Now he's retired, but Junkyard Joe has come back to see him and to help him. But meanwhile, Junkyard Joe is being hunted down by his creators. So interesting concept, really great series set in that unnamed universe that Geiger was also in. This last one, I've had my eye on it for a few weeks. I just decided to pull the trigger because I've been really curious about this one. It came out, I want to say, like a month ago. So number 2 should be out like soon enough, maybe next week or something like that. This one, though, is Spawn Unwanted Violence number 1. A big, oversized $5 issue. And the reason I wanted to pick this one up is because it has art by Mike Del Mundo, who has a really interesting art style, definitely interesting color palettes. The colors kind of morphing into each other and stuff. You can see some of it in here. It's written by Todd McFarlane, which to be honest is a little bit of a turnoff for me. I don't like his writing style too much, although he has been doing a decent job on the Gunslinger Spawn series recently. It's also just been a while since I've read any Al Simmons Spawn stuff, and this is just a quick like 2-issue Al Simmons Spawn miniseries that might be important to Spawn's universe, so I decided it would be a good idea to pick this one up. That's about it for my new comic book day issues that I picked up this week, though. What did you guys get, though? Let me know that down in the comment section below. Which issues are you looking forward to? If you already read them, which was your favorite issue of the week? And we're getting closer and closer to that 500 subscriber milestone. We're about 50 subs out from that right now. So if you're liking the content and you're not already subbed up to the channel, make sure to do that. It's the big red button right below the video. I appreciate you guys watching, though. I'll see you next week for episode 99, and soon we'll be at that 100 mark. Bye, guys.